Be a dog, not a step by the ball, because I'm gonna spin and retrieve, cause I give and receive, because I wanna get through your head what the list in my head, because I'm gonna take a step, don't use the alright. Come on. Don't use
Hello and welcome to tonight's Matchday session. Before we get going, just a couple of things really. So this is being run as a Microsoft live event, which basically means we can't hear you or we can't see you. But it's not that we don't want to hear from you. So if you do have a question, please do use the Q&A on the right-hand side of your screen. And we will get back to you as quickly as we possibly can as we're going through the session. Plus, there is a pause for some questions as we are going through. If you're struggling to see the screen at all, you can use the opposing arrows in the bottom right hand corner. That will be really relevant when we get towards the demonstration of the app. The app is obviously a phone screen, so it's a little bit smaller than what you're currently seeing now. So if you do need to enlarge it a little bit, you can use a full screen mode in the bottom right. And finally, this session will be recorded, and you'll be able to access that via the meeting link you've used to join tonight. So it's a double use of a link, a meeting link. So if you do want to share that with any of your colleagues or any coaches that you know, or with your club, do feel free to send that link along. Just bear in mind the first 10 minutes or so will just be silence, as that is the landing screen for when you came in tonight. So if you are sharing it, just let people know to skip the first 10 minutes or so, and you'll catch up to where we are about now. So in terms of this evening, what we're going to look at, so we're going to look at where you can download Matchday, where the data comes from that populates Matchday for you, a full demonstration of all the app's functionality except for payments. That is a separate webinar we've done recently, and I can point you towards recording of that later towards the back end of this session. And then we'll take any questions you've got before signposting you to any further support you can possibly need. My name's Sam Yates. I'm from the digital adoption team at the FA, and I'm joined tonight by Jack Patmore, who is from the grassroots service desk, also at the FA. So without further ado, we will crack on. So in terms of Matchday, where did it get my data from? Where did it get your data from? And this is how it all our systems fit together. So whole game system, for you GDPR experts out there, is our one true source of data. So what we've done with that, and tried to then reduce your admin at the same time, is all the data that you put into whole game system, we will then display where you need it in full time and also across in Matchday. So in terms of full time, you might go across for your seasons, your players, etc. But more relevant to this session is from whole game system. The manager comes across, the coaches, the team administrators, the players, the payments as well. If you are doing that, comes from the finance part of whole game system, and that displays within your app. And also in the app, it will show you any upcoming fixtures, any past results, and also give you the ability to add your match return after a game. So there's no longer a need to log into full time on a Sunday evening or a Saturday evening and then put your results. You can do it on your app as quickly as you can walk back to your car, as I do it. So that's where data comes from. Again, what we're trying to do with all our systems is reduce that admin time, and being able to use whole game as our one true source of data and putting it just in one system will hopefully reduce the setup time, especially. No other app can do this. So if you do go and download any others, there will be no data there. You'll have to set it all up yourself. With Matchday, that is not needed. So moving into the app specifically, we might want to think, well, where did the FA get the idea to create an app from? And basically what we did, we commissioned some research, and we found around 30 tasks for a manager from start to finish of a fixture. So all the way from confirming the fixture when it comes through from the league, all the way through to match day, and then the post-match day admin as well, so completing your match return. And we realised there was tons of different places this could be completed. You might have had to do paper still, and some leagues still use paper for some form of match return, match sheet, score sheet, squad list, whatever it might be. And hopefully we can start to get away from that and away from the days of having to go around to the secretary's house or the fixture secretary house on a Friday night to have someone or post it to a letterbox to ensure that somebody can play for the weekend. We're trying to get away from that, trying to reduce the time, the effort it will all take. And we did that by developing the Matchday app. So we tried to bring everything you did and put it all into one place. So with Matchday, we're trying to reduce admin, as I've already mentioned a few times, and also it's trying to get down those 30 admin tasks, automate what we can, and also reduce the time it takes to complete some of those tasks as well. Obviously, trying to reduce paper, no need to do these duplicated sheets and posting left, right, and centre. No one wants to really do that anymore. Surely, instant results. And there's a story, I'm sorry if you've heard this before, that I often use was not the season just gone that was cut short very prematurely, but the season before, when my under 12s became under 13s. The last game of the season, we were working out, are we going up, or sorry, are we staying up, or are we going to be relegated? All we had to do was draw to stay up, and we didn't. Obviously, we lost 9-1, and we needed another team to win by more than 3. Or by less than 3 for them to go down instead of us. So bizarrely, because they'd not won all season really, which shows how well my season went, they managed to win 5-1, which then meant that we were relegated. So after the game, and I've submitted my results, and I know the opposite managers from other games are also inputting their results into Matchday at the same time, because I made sure of it. And when it came to that point where all the kids are surrounding me saying, Sam, are we staying up? Are we staying up? And I'm looking at this, and the result comes through, and it's on the table that we're now bottom. And I was like, oh dear me! And all the kids were, "What's? Are we staying up?" And I just had to say that my phone had died, and that we couldn't tell them if we stayed up or not, because I couldn't face the disappointment in front of them. So let them go home and let the parents give them the disappointing news instead. So abdicating responsibility as a responsible coach. But yeah, instant results is a huge thing. Being able to see as soon as you put your results in, seeing what everyone else has been doing at the same time. And finally, with our payments partner PayPal, they did some research and found that around 40% of affiliated football's match fees go missing or go unpaid each season. And that was often the case of somebody turned up one week, forgot the cash, forgot the $5 or whatever it might have been, and then we've never actually paid that money back, because obviously people move on, people got busy lives, and you forget who paid what and when. So with Matchday, we're trying to bring the payments into one place. Hopefully we can reduce that 40% to 0%, so no money goes missing, especially in these times where times are a little bit harder than potentially have been in the past. So what roles are required to access Matchday? So this is at a team level. So if you're a club secretary or a club chairman or a club welfare officer, you currently do not have access. We are working on it. Hopefully you'll have one soon. But as it stands, you need to be the team manager, the team coach, or the assistant of either. So the team manager assistant or the coach assistant. And these are set within whole game system. So when the affiliation goes through for your club, once you are assigned as the manager, you will then have instant access to that team within Matchday. And also your players, as soon as they are assigned to a team on whole game system, they will also be appearing within Matchday. So there's currently no club role, but as I say, we are working on that. But for the time being, it is currently just the manager, the coach, and the assistants of both that will have access to Matchday to go and sort the player availability, manage the match details, and also do the reporting at the end of the game, or live as well, because it's got that functionality should you want to use it. Now, it's all well and good me telling you my stories. You can also listen to Lucy now from Ashburton Town, who's so her experiences of using the app. So 2 quick little videos.
I was working 6 days a week and working other nights preparing for my work coaching. Matchday had probably saved me about 2 hours a week. It's been absolutely amazing. I hardly have to do anything now. Organising the team is quite pleasant, and I can do it from anywhere. All the players are already there. They just say whether they're available or not. I don't have to do the text messages. I literally just press a couple of buttons. It's all done. It'll help as well standardise the organisation across your whole club.
So that was Lucy's story. Lucy saying it saved about 2 hours per week of admin time, which has meant she's been able to create a brand new team for her club and also set up some wildcat sessions as well. So that time that we were spending doing admin that no one really wanted to do and no one really enjoyed, you're now spending minutes doing it. And she, as I can quote her by saying, it's quite pleasant. I must admit, I've never found football admin pleasant, but each to their own. But hopefully you can start to see that reducing the admin time actually gets us to do more of the stuff that we enjoy on the green stuff outside, or on the court indoors if you're playing futsal once COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted. So where'd you download Matchday? Currently it's only available on Apple or Android devices. So you head to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. You'll be able to find, if you just search for DFA Matchday. It's currently got, you might look at the stars and think it's only got 3. I would be happy to admit that we had some issues when we first launched it, potentially launched it a little bit too early, but most of those are fixed now. So if you do get the download the app and you do enjoy it, please do leave a nice positive review and say that Sam didn't make me do this, I just enjoyed using the app. So we'd recommend other people use it. So you can see it has grown because it was on 1 in its first few months. But anyway, moving swiftly on, I'm now going to take you through the app and all the functionality within it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch away from my PC and I'm going to jump across to my phone. So while I do that, you may see the screen change and say something on the lines of the live events will continue soon. Don't worry, it's just me switching from the desktop to my phone. So bear with me 1 second and hopefully you'll see in just 1 moment. I'll bring that back. You can now see, hopefully, my phone screen, and you can hopefully see it says WGSO East First. So that's my club. So when you first come into Matchday now, this is what you can see. And this is what's called the squad tab. So this is really new. It's a brand new bit of functionality, which we haven't had in for very long. It's just a couple of weeks. Now, what you might notice here is at the top, I've got the opportunity to edit this to make it more fit for me and fit for my club. So if I was to tap on the little pencil icon by the little badge at the top, you can see I can now come and customize my club. So come up with team badging, and then I can make the app the same colors as I would use. So for my team, we play in red and black, mainly red. So I've got my club badge in there and red. In this instance, for this demonstration team, we've currently got no badge. So I'm just going to tap on choose photo. And you can see here, I have a lovely Preston North End badge, the greatest historic team to ever grace the UK. What you can do when you do put your badge in, you can start to zoom in, you can zoom back out again, you can spin it round, whatever you need to do to make it fit exactly what you need to fit in that circle. So as long as you've got a picture of your badge, you can put it in there. I know a coach in my club has got a picture of the team instead, because this will filter through to the players as well. So they will see that it's an app designed for their team and makes it that little bit more homely. So I'm happy with the badge, it's fit nicely in, so I click on save. And now you can see I've got the opportunity to select the colour, if I just scroll down a little bit, of the header and also the font. So if we're Preston North End, I want to make everything white. And you can see from that basic colour palette, there is no white there. So if I tap the plus icon, I've then got a colour picker and I can literally pick any colour of the rainbow. But nice and simple for Preston, we are just all the Fs, we are bright white. So I'll click add colour. But you can see in the top right hand side now, it does give me a preview of what things will look like, and hopefully you can see that white writing on a white background isn't very clear. So I can change the font color to blue, and now you can see it's got the badge and the font color is looking fine. So I click and confirm, and you can see now the app's changed completely. My players are now with white jerseys down towards the bottom, the top has changed to white, and my club badge is there, and that then filters across to all my players. Now, scrolling further down the screen, if I just go a little bit further down, you can see these are all the players that are currently assigned to my team on whole game system. So you can see I've got currently, because it is an adult team, I've got 2 options of ticks. I've got email and I've got Matchday. So basically that means, yes, they've got an email and yes, they've logged into Matchday, we'll give them 2 ticks. If this was a youth team, I'd have an extra column right at the very front, which says parent, which basically means in whole game system, the player has a parent linked. That parent then has an email, which is that middle column, and then they're logged into Matchday. And it's been really useful from my perspective, even this season, where it's just been launched, getting our new under-7s players onto the app. so I can see who is actually on the app and who isn't, and what stage of the journey they're up to, because we do use Matchday for payments. So if I scroll a little bit, you can see everyone's green up until I get towards this bottom end, and these players here, these are showing with some orange ticks. That basically means something's not right yet for them to be fully using the app. So I'll tap on Mark. If I tap on Mark, you can see at the very top there, I've got status pending Matchday login. If I scroll down, I can see the email address that's been assigned to this player. And you can see on the right-hand side, I've got that little paper aeroplane. If the player doesn't have an email address on whole game system, or the parent doesn't have an email address on whole game system, you can type it in here, click on that little paper aeroplane on the right-hand side, and that will send an email to the player or the parent and say, please log in to Matchday. We've now got your email address on your record, so you'll be good to go. If I scroll a little bit more, you can see what we have added, and what is coming soon is player stats. So especially in competitive football, you will now be able to track against your teammates and yourself your stats throughout the season if your manager inputs them. So some leagues don't require any stats really to be submitted through full time, and some managers then don't just do it because it's not really beneficial. If your manager does, and I know I definitely do, because my players love to be able to track themselves, you can put in the stats like goals, appearances, whatever you want it to be, but that will appear here soon. So it should be in by early to mid-September. So it should be in for the start of the season for most, if not the first couple of weeks. But I'm just going to tap on coming back out again, and you can see now I've just got either all green ticks at the top, and I've got my orange ones at the bottom. So that's pretty much my squad tab, and this is where I'll be able to track my stats in the future. But for the short term, it's a really easy tool to work out if my players are in the app or not yet. So at the very bottom, I've got a little menu next to squad. I've got fixtures. So if I tap on fixtures, what it will do straight away is take me to the next fixture or the last fixture played if I've got no further future fixtures. And you can see I've got three sections. I've got setup, I've got squad, and I've got report. So we'll take this game from the 25th against WGSO South first. So if I click on setup, what you can see now is all the data that's been pulled across from full time. So I, as a manager, have not had to do this. The league have done it in full time already. So all this kickoff time, duration, location, etc., has all been pulled across from full time. Now, if you've got 2 pitches assigned to your club or your team within whole game system, within full time, and your league allowed, because they can set if this is available or not, they can choose and change the pitch. So if you've got a grass pitch and a 3G pitch, and the weather's been dreadful like it has been up here, well, actually it's always raining up in the northwest of England, but if it's been particularly bad and you move to 3G and I've got 2 pitches assigned and my league have allowed it, I could click on pitch and change my ground so that people would know to turn to the right pitch. On location, which I found really useful this year, is as long as the league again have put in the correct venue information within full time, if I tap that, I can open it within the Google Apple Maps or Google Maps. So straight away, I don't have to go and start typing and searching. I can just tap on location. It opens up in the app, and then we're good to go. You can see at the bottom there, I've got underneath pitch tab, I've got referee. Currently that's blank. That's because the league have not assigned me a referee yet. Now, if the league had assigned a referee, their name would appear there. And I find that really useful on a match day when the referee's walking down the pitch and walking towards me. I just have a quick look at the app and double check that person's name. So when they do turn up, I can be dead friendly, and you know full well if I'm dead friendly at the start, any 50-50 decisions early on, they are definitely going my way. So there's a little tip for you. Scrolling a bit further down, I've then got meetup details. So this is what goes to my players. So this game was a 1 o'clock kickoff. So if I tap on meet time, and I want my players to meet at midday, so an hour before kickoff, and the meet location. So I can type in exactly or whatever I want to put in here. So I'm just going to put at the ground. I'll just come out of that one again so you can see the screen. So you see we're meeting at 12 o'clock midday, and we are meeting at the ground. And then I have the option to add any additional messages. So it might be you are playing away, so bring your away kit. It might be that you've won a 3G pitch, so don't bring your metal studs, only wear blades, etc. But you can put any other information in there that you wish. So I'm not going to put anything in for this one. I'm just going to click confirm and tell squad. And what that does then is that takes me to my squad page. So if my players have already put in their availability, because they will be able to see the fixtures that you can see as a manager, I can then select them for the squad. So at the moment, I've got no available players, but I can still select them. So if my players haven't gone on yet, I can still pick from my registered players, and you know they're registered because they have got an outlined green jersey. And if they are not registered, it would say underneath their name, this player is not yet league registered. So you should be under no illusion if a player can play or not. But what I might do here is just by tapping on them, you can see I've got a menu at the bottom, and I'm going to select my starting 11. We'll put Samuel in there. We'll put Yeri, Philippe, and Charlie. So I've got my 11, and I select pick to start. And you can see now my picked players I now have to start. And at the bottom here, I've got Brian and Fraser. I'm going to pick those two as a sub. And you can see now that says for bench. Now, don't worry, when we submit that to the player, it just says you are in the squad. It does not say you are starting or you're on the bench. And obviously, the reason for that is if we told a player, especially in some of the teams I used to coach in, my women's team, take for instance, last season, if they knew that on the bench for the 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, they would be turning up at midday, still hungover, heavily hungover from the night before. So we just tell them they are in the squad and not in a starting position or on the bench. And I can change this at any time. So if maybe Brian now says I'm unavailable, I can just tap him and click unselect. And you can see my picked players goes down to 12 because I've got my starting 11 and one bench, which is Fraser. Anyone who's marked unavailable will appear at the bottom of this screen, but don't worry, you can still pick them. So if someone's put themselves as unavailable, but you know you're going to convince them to play this weekend, you can still select them to start or for the bench for the game this whenever your next fixture is. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click confirm and confirm team lineup. I get notification to say, are you sure? Because people will be told. And again, it reaffirms we will not tell people if they're on the bench or the starting lineup. So I confirm team lineup. And that will, in just a second, give me a confirmation. And you'll see at the very top of the screen, all right, I've got my team sheet first, sorry. So you can see if it wants a screenshot for social media, I can get my my starting team sheet in, starting 11, and also my subs down at the bottom. I'm just going to tap out of this and the X in the top corner. I don't want to rate the app just yet, but maybe I will do later, and it will be 5 stars. But if I just come back out of this, if I scroll to the top now, you can see setup's green because I've completed it. And if I tap out of the squad in just a second, that will also go green. So in the top left, I'm just going to click on the back arrow. Oh, get me out of there. I've got an email coming through. So go back and you can see now for that fixture on the 25th, the setup and the squad is now green. So you know as a manager, once all 3 are green, you've completed everything you need to do. But the majority now is pre-match. Sorry. So you do your confirmation, your fixture, you select your squad, and now I can in my reports, I can do it live. Now, I would say from a manager's perspective, I would struggle to do this live because I struggle to keep control of my kids in the best of times with giving them my full concentration and having to put it in the app at the same time. But if you've got a trusted person on the sideline, maybe an assistant coach, they can update it live, and that will live update within full time and also on match day. So if a player couldn't make it one week, they could still watch the live action coming through. But I'm not going to show that now because I've not got a live game to show you. But just take, for instance, that's the Saturday, the 25th of July game that we've just set up and set to the squad for. The game's now finished, so I'm going to tap on report. And you can see the first thing I've got to do is put in the score. So I can put in that we've had a nice, easy 3-1 win. And I can, if I want to, set the half-time scores as well. So I will do. I'm going to put in that we won 3-1. Click confirm. And you can see now the score shows 3-1. The next thing to do, if I scroll down a little bit, is to add a game event. So tapping game event, these are the ones we've got options for so far. Don't worry, assists and penalties are part of this as well. I'm going to show you where in just a second. We will be adding more as people keep requesting extra information to add in. So we will add it in the more people request it. But for the time being, I'm going to select my goal scorers because remember I've got 3. So at the top here, I've got a slider and I can select the time of the stat. Now, again, it's up to you how accurate you want to be with this. With my team, every single one is in the 70th minute, the last minute of the game, just because I don't keep track of the actual time of the goal. If you do know it, you can absolutely put it in. So maybe it's the 60, it might be the 90th minute. I can actually add it in the 92nd minute. And then I've got the options of goal for, an own goal for, or a penalty. So in this instance, I'm going to happy that Charlie scored. And then I can select the player that give the assist. It could be nobody. It could be no player at the top there. Charlie could have gone on a great one-man run and finished it off. but I'm going to say Felipe here was able to give the assist. So I can submit the game event. And you've seen just a second, I've now got a game event there of Charlie was the scorer and Philippe was the with the assist as well. And again, if I just click on goal 4, I can add a penalty by tapping that one, and I can say Brian scored the pen. It was a great penalty too. I need one more goal, so let's go goal 4, and we'll go Ashton, and it was a one-man effort, so we'll go no assist. So see, I've got my 3 goals there. Also, what I can do if I add the game event, I can add in maybe yellow card, red card, a sin bin, and also a substitution. So I can time of the sub if I want to, and I can say Craig came off and Fraser came on. And again, that feeds back into my game events there. So you can see a nice little trail of events, and it does put them in order once you come back to this after the game. So don't worry about doing them in order at the right time. Going a little bit further down, actually, I put myself as the away team. The home team can add the referee's name, their first name and surname, if the referee was not assigned on that by the league to that fixture, or if the league had assigned a referee but that person didn't turn up, maybe they were ill, I can type in the referee's name. Should I have got maybe a parent to do it, and it's a really quick, good, and easy way for the league to track and make sure that there's someone who's not a qualified referee. And has never had any safeguarding checks in any way, shape or form, but is refereeing week in, week out, who's not really part of a club, and we can start to iron out some of those people that are trying to bypass parts of the system. But what I'm going to do now is just scroll down a little bit further. I'm happy that the referee's name is going to be in there by the home team. I can now select the decision making firstly from the referee out of 1 to 40, so it's just a slider again. I can say it was maybe 28, fairly decent. Judgment and made decisions out of 30. I'm going to go up and scroll across to, I've got 22. And you can see at the moment, because I've got my total mark is a live tally, whilst it's below 60, it gives me the ability, and it will actually enforce you to add a reason why the referee's been marked below 60. And we do require a minimum of 50 characters, because the most often submitted excuse was just 3 words, and it was he or she was, and then I'll leave the 3rd word up to you. So obviously that's no good to a league who needs to identify a referee who needs more training, and it's not good for a county FA either to ensure that the referees are up to standard. But in this case, I'm happy that the referee did more than well enough and give them a 75. I don't need to put the extra reason for marking below 60. A little bit further down, I've got my respect. So my first one is the on pitch. So we can say it was great, poor, or regular poor incidents. And then I've got again the off pitch, so the coaches and spectators. I can say again in green, we're happy with them. Team marks is any questions, any extra questions that your league will ask you on top of what is basic within full time and match day. So it might be at the moment, have you seen the opposition's risk assessment, or in this case, give some marks to the opposition team. I'm going to give them an 84, pretty good. And finally, I've got my pitch marks at the bottom. So I can change the pitch type if I've not played on indoor, I might say I played on grass. And then I can select the quality of pitch. So from 0 is really poor. 1 was my pitch, my home pitch for the year, which was spent most of its life underwater. Or it could be like a carpet, like playing at Wembley, they can put 5. And finally, in this instance, would be number of attendees. Most junior leagues, especially most grassroots leagues, don't require number of attendees. And in this case, this isn't mandatory. So I'm going to click on submit. And I see you get a little message to say, are you sure you want to do this? We're going to submit all the details to full time. So yes, I'm happy with that. And you'll see in a second, I get a confirmation message just to say your results have been submitted to full time. There you go. Match return, submit to full time. And if I was to tap on the top left hand side again and just come out of this, you can see now that the game on the 25th has got 3 green sections, which means I am good to go. I don't need to log into any of the system. I don't need anything else to do. My admin is done for that fixture. And it tends to take me about a minute to a minute and a half to complete my match return. I tend to do it on the way back to the car so that I don't forget, because I do 2 teams on a Sunday. But the number of times pre-match day when I had to log into full time on a Sunday, the number of times I would forget because I'm drowning my sorrows in a nice New Zealand Sauvignon, and I then realised that I've missed my opportunity to submit them on time, and I've had a nice fine from my league. Since having match day, I've never had to pay a fine to the league, so I'm buzzing with that. It's been a lifesaver just for that from my perspective. So that's your matches. Across the top, you can see I've got matches, I've got training, I've got social. So if I tap on training, I can start to put in my training sessions that we've got, including friendlies as well. So at the bottom there, on the right-hand side, I can put a friendly in, or I can put in training. And with training, you can put repetition on as well. So if you know you've got 12 weeks worth of training at the same time, at the same venue, you can select the repetition to be the number of weeks and the number of the day it would be, and that would appear within the player's app. And once that's live, the players can then go and give their attendance. So yes, I'm available, or no, I'm not, which is great, especially when you're trying to do your session planning, to be able to then be able to monitor how many players you've got to be able to plan your session around. Also, what you can do in the notes, so in these additional messages, you can put, if you've got maybe a track and trace in your club, you can put a link to that, which the players could be able to click and complete the form, whatever you might have for your club. So that is available through the app. It's the same as leading competitors, all do exactly the same. We just provide you a space to put a link for your players to go on do their track and trace, or whatever it might be, pre-match or before the session. And finally at the top, socials there. And again, it's exactly the same as adding a friendly and anything else. If I just click on create one, I can give it a name. So it might be at the start of season or pre-season get together, socially distanced, of course, if you're from where I'm from. Up in the northwest, we are currently in an extra lockdown. We can't meet anybody outside our household, so I'd have to meet mine on Zoom. But anyway, or Microsoft Teams, of course. Just put the date, the time, the duration, and I can put the location as well at the bottom, and then any additional messages. So it could be, as that instance, as that example is there, let's go and have some fun as a team. I'm going to go into the fixtures section, and you can see my live league table now. So we are sitting pretty at the top on 4 whole points. Played one, won one, drawn one, lost one apparently. Yeah, lost one as well, with a goal difference of 1. You can see just under the league name in the top left-hand corner. So it does say WGSO Test Super League, and I've got the 2021 season. If I want to go back and compare, if I had previous seasons, which this league doesn't, this is the first time it's running, I'd be able to go back and look at my past seasons. So if I want to compare how we were doing at this point last season, we can have that comparison using the app as well. And again, the top right-hand corner, I can click on results. I can see the results that my team have been involved in. Again, I've got that season filter at the top. So if I look at last season, or if maybe you've met someone for the first time in a year and you're saying, I had the best game ever, I scored 6, and I can prove it to you, you can just change the season back one, tap the fixture, and it will give you the stats from that game. Or if I've got filter at the top right-hand side there, at the moment, it's just looking at my team. I can make it show all teams as well. So I can see very quickly and very easily how other results have gone in my division for that week. The next one's payments. So let me get rid of you. So from a manager's perspective, you've got eyes on all your players, what they owe, when they owe it for, what they owe, etc., etc. So you can see if I click on Brian there, he owes 70 quid. I can see he owes the annual one-off fee of 60 quid and his sign-on fee of £10. And I could, if I wanted to, if he'd maybe come and give me some cash, I can mark that as paid by cash using this app as well. But again, if you want more information on payments, we have got a separate webinar, and I'll signpost you to that at the back end of this session. It's an hour in itself to go through the whole functionality because there's loads of it, so I won't do that now. And finally, if I go into account at the end, I've got my name, although it's not my real name, but my test name is Craig there. So I know exactly who I'm in as, and you can see just underneath, I'm currently in as the manager for the first team of WGSO East. If I scroll a bit further down, there's some other stuff like looking at your details, sharing the app. If you want to go and change your marketing preferences, if you want to opt into marketing, you're more than welcome to. And you can see I've got my other teams in there. So if I'm the parent of a child, my child would appear here. If I'm a player as well, which I am there for first WGSO East, you can see that because there's no graphic in the centre of that person's jersey. Whereas on Mustang's WGSO East, I have got some like little tactics icons that signifies that that person is a manager. But I'm going to click on the player's role, so you can just see how quickly and easy it is for a player to look at stuff. So as I mentioned, now I'm in as a player, and as I mentioned at the start, the badge I put in and the colour scheme has pulled across to me as a player. Now you can see currently there's no ticks because as a player, I'm not bothered if people are in the app or not. But what I can see is all my players. my teammates. And if I tap on, not me, well, I can tap on me if I want to, but I'm going to tap on Samuel Eriksson. And if I go onto here, what I will be able to do in the new season is compare my stats to him, or if there's enough women's team, obviously to her. And you'll be able to go through and have that little friendly banter, if you will. I know full well that my players would have a field day comparing themselves against each other under 15s. They are the most intra-competitive kids you'll ever come across. Coming to match day when they have got to compete against another team, that's a different story. But anyway, but again, as a player, I can go. I've got my matches that are coming up, and if I had a future fixture, I'd be able to confirm my availability. So underneath the fixture, it would say, "Are you available?" A tick or a cross. Tapping the tick would then feed through to the manager to say, "Yes, I'm available," and obviously a cross would say no. And a player can go in and change that at any time. So if the availability changes, they can be as flexible through the app as they need to be. Again, they've got training sessions. So any training sessions my manager set up, I will be able to see them here and say if I'm available or not. And finally, the same with socials. If I go into my results, it looks exactly the same as the manager's side. So I've got my full list of results that come through. And again, at the table at the top, I can go and look at that and see that we are currently sitting pretty in first place on 4 points. As a player, again, I can see just my payments. I can't see the rest of my team because obviously that's irrelevant to me. But what I can do, if I tap on that £10, I can tap on that and you can see I've got the ability to pay that with PayPal or via a guest checkout, so my credit card or debit card or Apple or Google Pay as well. And if you, again, want more information on payments, I'll signpost you at the back end of this session. And finally, the player will have also the account section. So again, if I come into here, you can see how that works. So that is a very brief demonstration of the app and its functionality in its current form. I'm now going to stop sharing this phone screen and go back into my PowerPoint. So bear with me 1 second whilst I do this. So hopefully now you can see the presentation is now up. I just get rid of you and my screen. Right, there we go. So currently you can see in the match details. So currently what I've just been through is the fact that my as a manager, none of your details you have to input yourself. It's all pulled across. And in this instance, you can see the referee is James Smith. So you can see that the ability to add in when the league put in the referee's name, you can see that right there. Obviously, then the players can put their availability. And what's very unique to Matchday, no other app can do this, is pick up the discipline of a player. So on the right hand side screenshot, I apologize, it's a bit grainy, but Andy there at the top has got a red jersey and a red card next to his name, which basically says Andy's got a current suspension. So potentially I would not be picking Andy to play for that fixture. And as I mentioned before, you can do live events, and that's what it looks like on the left hand side. So if I'm watching from home because I may be injured or not been able to make it on a holiday, whatever it might be, I can watch the live updates come through to my phone, and that's also pushed through to full-time the website as well. So if I'd prefer to use that to watch the results come in, I can do, or I can do it after the game as I've just demonstrated tonight. So I'm going to put in all the requirements that my league ask, click on submit to full-time at the bottom, and that is my match return done. As I mentioned, I tend to do that within a minute to a minute and a half every single week, so it's far quicker than the old having to log in on a Sunday evening whilst half the world is also trying to get on and it being a little bit slow and then giving up. As I've not really gone through tonight, you can do your match payments, and those screenshots are dreadful. I do apologise, but also you can see if you do want more information, I will signpost you right at the back end of this session. So before we get any questions that you have asked this evening, some frequently asked questions we often get. So first one is, how do I add players to my squad? Basically, head to whole game system, head to the player registration tab. You can then add the players in and assign them to a team. Once you've assigned them to a team, they will appear within the Matchday app automatically. There's nothing else for you to do as long as you've assigned them to a team within whole game. We've had this a couple of times, especially at the start of this season, with players looking at potentially new places to play. Is I'm attached to my old team still? How do I remove them? And there's two ways. Either your old club needs to log into whole game and detach you from their club records, which they should be doing. But if maybe that club's folded or you're not able to get in touch with the club still, get in touch with your county FA, and they will ensure that your old roles, your old playing roles, have been removed from whole game. So you're just seeing what you need to see within Matchday. One I've had a couple of times today, a couple of messages through saying I can't see any fixtures yet. That's basically because your league haven't set any yet to public. So as soon as your league have created fixtures and made them public on full time, they will then show in the app. Until that point happens, you'll just see that you've got no upcoming fixtures and that you'll hopefully have some soon. So don't worry if you're going now and you're not seeing any fixtures. It's probably because your league have not created any yet. But as soon as they do and make them public, they will automatically push through to your app. One we do get once or twice a season, which is worth knowing. Any player with a signed die or safeguarding suspension will not have access to the app. It will automatically be blocked. If you think something is incorrect or wrong, please contact your county FA and they will help to resolve this. So I am now going to hand over to Jack, who's going to ask the questions that you have been asking, and I will do my best to answer with a little bit of voice I've got left.
Thanks very much, Sam. A good demo as always, and hopefully we'll give your voice a little bit of a rest. We've had plenty of questions into the chat, so good to see everyone engaged. And I think Sam has answered a few of those in the FAQs, but I'll quickly run through them and hopefully be able to provide the answer. And if you've got any more questions, begin to send them in if we haven't covered them. So firstly, we had a question around how do you remove a player from the Matchday app, especially when they don't appear in whole game system. Now, to remove players from showing within Matchday, you need to detach them from within whole game system, and they should be removed from Matchday app within 14 days. If you've got any anomalies or anything like that where you've detached them and they're still showing, send them into matchday@thefa.com. But most of them, if you detach them within whole game system, then they will be removed from whole game system, and vice versa as well. So if you're looking at adding players to your Matchday app, you've just got to assign them to the team within whole game system. They don't need to be league registered, just assigned to team. Next up, an actual payments question here from Tony, who's asked around why he can't see his teams in the My Teams tab on the payments portal. Again, that's a frequent question, but the league just need to set up their fixtures. So once they've integrated to full time and they've created some fixtures, then your teams will show underneath the Teams tab. That's for the pay as you play payments, but you can already set up annual fees and you can set up monthly fees from within the setup tab and assign those and collect the payments should you need to. Next up, we've got some questions around registering on the app as an assistant manager or a manager or a coach. So to be able to access the app, as we've mentioned, you need to be listed as a team manager, a team coach, or assistants of these roles. So roles such as team secretary or club secretary don't currently get access to the app. To be able to be added in as a manager or a coach, if you're not one of the key officials within the club, then they will be able to do so. So they'll be able to add you in under the team officials tab, or if you're late affiliating, they'll be able to add you into the affiliation form. There was a question around how do players / parents get access if you said only the coaches will get access. What we mean by that is the managers and the assistants are the only people who get access from a managerial or an organiser's point of view. So players and parents will access as normal. They will log in with their FA details, which you can send them via the squad list tab. They'll then be able to sign in and use that same login if they ever want to sign into the FA.com or similar, and they'll be able to get in and update their availability and similar. We had a question from Bob around adding in a COVID-19 risk assessment form for clubs to use. And what we've done at the moment is we've actually added in an update so that within the notes section for training match days and friendlies, you can hyperlink to a URL. So you can set up your own form within Google Forms, for example, and then add that into the notes section so that all the players can see, all the parents can see. They can fill out that form, particularly we're talking in terms of track and trace here, not necessarily a risk assessment. But again, if you uploaded a risk assessment to Google Drive, you could put or Forms, you could then put it in as a URL. So that's available under the notes section, and there's guidance on that in the knowledge base, which we will talk you through in a bit. There was a couple of questions again around having access to the payments portal. So the payments portal and the Matchday app are two slightly separate things, although they're connected. Payments portal is used to set up the fees, it's used to organise, and it's used to get those reports on the whole club as a whole. So who's paid, which teams have paid, which haven't. So it's used to set up the account and kind of manage it, whereas the Matchday app is used to actually pay the fees. So to get access to the payments portal, you'll need to be one of those key officials. So you need to be secretary, treasurer, chairman, or assistants of those roles. Again, if you've got any problems at all accessing the payments portal, let us know, matchday@thefa.com, and we can get those sorted. We had a question around someone is setting up a new team and they've downloaded the app, but how do they get a login for it? Now, hopefully, if you have loads of email addresses, maybe try the primary one or the one you gave to the club in the first instance. So use that email address. If you don't know your password, you've obviously got the forgotten password button, which you can click to reset your password to your email address. If you're completely stuck and you're not sure at all what email address you have used, you can either, if you're a key official, log into whole game system, or sorry, you won't be able to log in because you only if you know your fan. You could log into thefa.com and check it out, or you can contact a club official. So if you know another club official who has access to the whole game system, they will be able to check it and see what email address you have registered. Does the adding an email address on the Matchday app also add it to whole game system? Yes, it does. It's exactly what it's there for. So you can set up players and parents' emails all through the app. Now, we know there's been a few issues adding second parent or guardian emails within the app, but this should be rectified within the next Matchday release, which is due by the latest next week, middle of next week. Does the player have to be all green for the player to be officially registered? So if they've got green ticks across the board, that means that the players are ready and they've already signed into the Matchday app, so they've logged in completely. If they've got orange exclamation marks or ticks, if they're orange, it actually means they haven't logged into Matchday app or they've not got an email address. But as long as their shirt's green, it means they are league registered. So it's important to differentiate between those two. We've added players to the club on whole game system, however, they don't show. Again, that'll be an issue around assigning to teams. So once they're added to the club, just make sure they're assigned to the team. Once they are assigned to team within whole game system, they will show within the Matchday app. Sometimes, rarely, it can take up to 72 hours. They should go across immediately, but give it up to 72 hours to go across. And if you've got any problems after those 72 hours, contact matchday@thefa.com. I think Sam covered this one, but around switching roles, again, it's another real high frequency question we get into the service desk. So is there a different login for manager rather than parent? No, there isn't. So if you've got a manager role and a parent role, or a manager and a player, or maybe you're a manager of multiple teams, you can administer all of your same roles from within one login. So once you've logged in, you go to that account tab, as Sam showed, and you can navigate around your different teams and clubs. So you can switch roles within the app without having to sign out and sign back in again, as long as you're named within whole game system, of course. We have a question around I manage an under-9s team. What happens if if we have an away game and the away team don't use Matchday? So all of the data is pulled from FA full-time, so it doesn't require all of the teams to be online on Matchday app for them to update the availability. Because all of the data is pulling from full-time, not from Matchday, that will be kept up to date by your league. We'll then scroll down. Let's have a look. Our league has a mandatory requirement to submit opponent's player of the match. Is this something that should be added? So yeah, absolutely. Any questions that your league asked, whether that be away team man of the match or how was the hospitality or something like that, they can all be added in within FA full time. And once they're in full time, they will come across to Matchday app. So every question, it will be exactly the same. The way you complete result sheets on full time is replicated within the Matchday app. Scrolling down, we get into the last few questions now. So let's have a quick look. Does the app pull the team data from the full-time app, or does it need to be re-entered again? The great thing about Matchday, and the real selling point for this versus other apps, is that all of the data is automatically pulled from whole game system. So all of your players come from whole game system, all of your fixtures and results come from full time. There's no need to re-input that data. It's all there for you once you've got it set up. Scrolling down, let's have a quick look and see the last two. Okay. So Sam, I might need your help on this one, mate. So we know that parents get automatically prompted, so they get a notification when that fixture is created. But closer to the fixtures, if they haven't responded to their child's availability or their own availability, do they get another notification?
Yeah, so with 3 days to go, they'll get an extra push notification just to say you haven't given your availability yet. Please do so now. But that's only if the parent has allowed the app to use the push notifications, which most do. But if they haven't, there is an article on a knowledge base as to how to switch that back on if they had switched it off accidentally.
Thank you very much, mate. Can I manage payments for my team through the app even though my club has not enabled them? No, you would need, unfortunately, you would need the club to have them enabled. If you need any help selling it to your club, or you need any advice, or you want any guidance at all, email us matchday@thefa.com, and I'm sure we will be happy to help you try and sell that to your club committee if you think it's a viable option. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so we have a question around when trying to log into the app. I add my email address, but when I go to the password section, I only get the option to reset my password. Now, that will be due to the font size actually on the phone. It's a temporary issue. We're going to get it fixed within the next Matchday release, so that should be done by the middle of next week. But if you want to sign in before then, it's just to do with the font size. So when you open up the Matchday app, and you go to click sign in, there'll be a zoom option at the top right. So it'll be next to the refresh tab, and there's a zoom option. It'll be a lowercase a and an uppercase a. If you click there, you can actually zoom out and you'll be able to type in that password. If you want any guidance on that issue, so if the forgotten password button is overlapping on the password button, email us matchday@thefa.com, and I'll be able to give you that guidance easily. John, on whole game system, my vets team does not exist, but the club does. How do I add the team to whole game system? That sounds like you'll need guidance on the affiliation. So it sounds like the affiliation hasn't been completed and the team hasn't been added. If you are the club secretary, speak to your county FA or the chairman, speak to your county FA. They'll be able to give you advice on affiliating the team. If you're not, then again, just maybe pop a reminder to your secretary or chairman or whatever, just to make sure the club's affiliated for next season and has those teams created. When I confirm and tell the squad about the friendly game, the setup does not become green. Now, I'm trying to think through off the top of my head, thinking of the setup on training, Sam.
It's different. So at the moment, friendlies don't look exactly the same as the match day, so they do not go green. And also, you can't put a bit of the extra information that you can with the fixture from a league fixture. But we are looking to have that so that they actually mirror each other. So if you've got a league fixture that you put the details in, or if you've got a friendly where you're putting them in, you'll have the same things to be able to do, and it will look the same and feel the same. So you know you've done everything as you would do for a league fixture.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. My parents do not get notifications even when they log in. I would advise them to double check under settings. So, and allowing push notifications won't necessarily actually turn those notifications on within the app. So they might need to check that themselves. If they go into settings and then permissions, they'll be able to check that from within there. If you get any further issues on that, we can check them in matchday@thefa.com, but usually it's the push notifications being turned off within the settings tab. If the club enables payment, does that mean payments will go straight to the club or go to the team manager? No, so the club, to set up payments, they will set up a PayPal account, or if they already have a PayPal account, they then link it to Whole Game System. So the club's PayPal account is linked to Whole Game System, and then any payments go into that club's PayPal account. So it's not set up individually or anything like that. It's all into one place, similar to your club bank account, or similar. And for the moment, Sam, I think that wraps up the questions that we've had in.
Perfect, and perfect timing as well. Brilliant, thanks, Jack. So just before we do sign off for this evening, what is coming soon, actually what's already here, is the ability, I've just left this screenshot in, just so you can see if you're a youth club, how it looks when there's a parent as well. So when I did the demo, I just had email and Matchday. This one has email, parents and Matchday. But you can see on the right-hand side, this is what the appearances may look like. It's still got a couple of graphics people to go through first, but obviously the results that you put in at the end of a game will then appear to the player, but that is only for competitive football to start with. We are looking at what we can do for non-competitive football where the result does not count, but keep your eyes open on that one. It is due early to mid-September. If you want to be in the know, want to know more about just our products in general, or want to be in the know in terms of what's coming next in terms of functionality, etc., you can join our community, if you will, and that's via our knowledge base, via grassrootstechnology.thefa.com in the bottom left-hand corner there. In that top left-hand screenshot, and I apologise again for a slightly grainy screenshot, but you can see in the solutions part there. So everything I've covered tonight, you'll be able to run through in quite granular detail. So you can take it your own time. I'm aware I speak incredibly fast for most people, so that's just to get it all in within an hour. But if you do go into the solutions, literally everything I've been through, including payments as well, that from start to finish, from coach to parent to player, there's loads of information in there. In the bottom right screenshot, you've got the forums there. So again, we will post in there the updates that are due to hit match day. So you can go and join those at any time. Have a look at there, and also feedback. So if you use the app and go, if this functionality was in the app, this would be brilliant, please can you add it in? We'll add that to our product backlog, and then the next time we do consultation with clubs and leagues and people who use the app, that can be voted. The ones that we voted for the highest tend to be the stuff we build in. So one of the biggest things people asked us to put in was the ability to easier manage people getting into the app. So we built the squad tab. And there's also been some of the enhancements we've put in, especially around the reporting side and the stats that you can collect via Matchday. That's been very much driven by users, not by us, because at the end of the day, we are building this for you guys, not for us, because I built it for me because I use it as a manager, but not for the FA. It's for grassroots football. So all that's left for me to say really is thank you so much for your time this evening. We do really appreciate it. It's another hour out of your day, another hour you've given up to pretty much voluntarily for football. And we do appreciate that. Please do remember what we are trying to do with our technology is to modernise it to serve the game. You'll notice if you use any other sites of ours, like Whole Game System or Full Time, there are changes happening now, and there's a 4-year plan now to really enhance and update everything we currently have to make it almost, if we can, world leading in its setup, and to make it as quick and simple, as slick as you ever need it, and also mobile friendly, because we are aware that many of our apps currently aren't mobile friendly. But if you've been onto Full Time recently, that has had a facelift on the admin side, on the admin home, and there's more to come on Full Time as well. And Whole Game System, the player edge side, gets a nice update due out in mid to late November this year, again to make it mobile friendly and to make it as easy as possible for anyone within a club when they're doing their registration tasks. But if you need any further support, there's 2 emails. There's matchday@thefa.com, which Jack's alluded to, or if you're struggling with anything at all, you can hit us up at grassrootstechnology@thefa.com. That's grassrootstechnology@thefa.com. And if you're on Twitter, do feel free to give us a follow. We will post product updates on there and also future webinars, etc. And we also can take queries in through Twitter as well. So if you want to follow us, we are at FAGRTech, TECH. As you see in the bottom left-hand corner. So thanks again for joining this evening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, and thanks to Jack for helping me out with the questions this evening. Very much appreciated. So all that's left for me to do is say thank you and good night.